All right, welcome to the Accupoint training. First things first, what is Accupoint? It is the online system that we use to create sessions and bill insurance. For that reason, it's really, really important to learn to use it efficiently and accurately. So the basics, you will be provided a login. This will be sent to you in your email. So please be on the lookout for that if you've not already received it. Um, Another important thing to know, a session, we will use this term a lot. This is just a period of time accounted for on Accupoint. When we are talking about a session, it contains the date, the time, the location, who is being billed for services, all that important information. So you will have an Accupoint session to reflect the entire time you are clocked in on paychecks to ensure you are getting paid correctly. So if you are clocked in from 9 o'clock to 3 p.m., you will have most likely, multiple Accupoint sessions to reflect this entire time that you are clocked in. You'll also complete or convert Accupoint sessions immediately after receiving signatures. This just ensures that you are completing these in a timely fashion. Otherwise, it creates a lot of time and hassle for other people behind the scenes. So what types of sessions are there? There are billable sessions. This is how you will bill insurance when you are working directly with a client. We also have non-billable sessions, and these can account for a few different activities. So if you're waiting for a client to arrive in the morning longer than 8 minutes, you will create a non-billable Accupoint session to account for this time. You are maybe assigned to a task around the clinic if your client doesn't show up or if we have a lot of extra staff that day. Or if you're shadowing another therapist as a sub for extra information or any other reason. So what does it look like? For HIPAA purposes, we can't do a full screen recording because it shows client names. So here are some screenshots that will show you what the Accupoint will look like on your screen. When you first log in, you will start on the home page. So you will navigate over to shifts. As of right now, there is nothing to display because there are no Accupoint sessions yet. So in order to add one, you'll want to navigate towards the bottom and click on where it says Add Session. It will then pull up this page where it says Session Note. You'll hit the drop-down menu for each box. It will all need to be filled in order for the session to be created. So the date will auto-populate to today's date. So if you're creating an Accupoint session in real time, which you should, go ahead and just keep the date that's auto-populated. The time in, we'll go through what you should put in these boxes here in a few minutes. The timeout, selecting a client, and then selecting a service to bill for. After you have all of these completed, again, we will go through those momentarily, you will hit Save Item. Once you hit Save Item, it will then take you back to your shifts page, and it should pop up right here. Each Accupoint session will have a dot associated with it. Up here is going to be the key. So a green dot means that you have entered your session, but it is not yet complete. An orange dot means you have entered and completed your session. And that just means that you've received the proper signature and you have hit complete. And that means you're good to go. So we will go through what to put in each of these boxes depending on what type of session you are creating. So when you're creating a morning session, your start time will be when you and your client are both in the building. That is really, really important. You and the client need to both be in the building in order to bill insurance. If you arrive before your client, say you arrive at 9 o'clock and your client arrives at 9:03, the session will start when the client arrives. So your session will start at 9:03. If your client arrives before you, maybe you're running late, they get here at 9 o'clock, and you don't get here until 9:15. Your session will begin at 9:15. Again, it's very important that both you and the client are both in the building when you are billing for services. The end time for your morning session will always be 12 p.m. unless your client leaves early, maybe they get picked up or they're sick, or if they are normally scheduled to leave at noon, maybe they only come from 9 to noon every day. Otherwise, your morning session will always end at 12. Even if you switch clients at 11:55, your morning session will still end at 12. And for your client, for the client box, you will hit the drop-down menu and you will select the client's name. There are all of the clients from all of the centers in this, and they are organized alphabetically by last name. So it's important that you know your client's last name. When you are selecting a service, please ensure that you are selecting the option that contains RBT Direct Billable. This just ensures that you are billing as an RBT, and this is the correct code. So it might say the client's insurance before RBT Direct Billable, but please ensure that you are selecting the option that contains RBT Direct Billable. And then when your session is over, who is going to sign it? Your morning session will be signed by the RBT that is going to be with your client in the afternoon or a classroom teacher. If you are one of the first RBTs to switch in the morning, you might not get a chance to talk to your client's next RBT, and that's okay. A classroom teacher or a supervisor can sign your session. Otherwise, the RBT that is taking over your client's case for the afternoon should be the one signing it. Okay, when you are creating an afternoon session, your start time will always be 12 unless your client arrived after noon. So if your client was late getting to school and they don't get here till 12:15, go ahead and start at 12:15. Otherwise, if your client was there all morning, at business as usual, you will always start your session at 12. Your end time, this will always end when caregiver picks up client. So it's really important. Obviously, we schedule things to end at 3. If parents pick up at 2:45, your end time will be 2:45. If parents are running late and they don't get to school until 3:10, your session will end at 3:10. Do note that time spent speaking with the caregiver can be included in the billing time, especially if parents have a lot to communicate, a lot of questions, and there's an extra, 5 minutes. You can include that extra 5 minutes speaking with the parents in your billing time. If the parent is late, again, please continue to bill until they arrive. The client and selecting a service, these will be the same as the morning session. Just ensure that you are billing for the correct client. And then who is signing it? This is always going to be the caregiver who picks up the client. This will be the person who signs the afternoon sessions. This is extremely important. This ensures that parents are saying, yes, I agree, my child was here, here is my signature. So please keep that in mind. Okay, when you're creating a non-billable session, your start time will depend on either when you clocked in or you last billed for a client. Your end time, when you begin to bill for a client, so maybe you have a non-billable session for your wait time, you clock in at 9 o'clock, your client doesn't get there till 9:25. So your start time will be 9 o'clock when you clock in, and your end time will be when your client arrives, so 9:25. Or if you are working on tasks around the clinic, your end time will be when you clock out. If you have any questions regarding a specific non-billable start and end time, please contact either the front office or a supervisor. Okay, For your non-billable sessions, you are not with a client, so you will not select a client. This will be blank, and that is okay. It will still let you create it. When you are selecting a service, there are two options. Depending on the type of activity you are doing, that will determine which service you are billing for. If you are waiting for a client, if you are working on tasks around the clinic, so maybe you're helping clean, or you are shadowing another therapist, please select private RBT direct non-billable. Non-billable is the key word here, non-billable. However, if you are attending a staff meeting or a training, such as a MANT training or CPR training, you will select internal RBT training. These are two different rates. And again, if you are unsure of which service you should be billing for, please ask the front desk before making the session, and you can ensure that you're doing it accurately. Okay, before you sign off or complete a session, in the notes section, this little box will appear when you click on the created session in order to collect signature and convert it. Briefly explain what you were doing during this time. It doesn't need to be a novel, but please just let us know that what you were doing was legitimate. Maybe you're waiting for a client in the morning, or you cleaned toys. Maybe you shadowed another therapist with the client. You attended MANT training, anything like that. It can be as simple as just a short sentence. And who is signing this? The front office staff is responsible for signing non-billable sessions. Please make sure that you are bringing it to them. It is not their responsibility to come find you to convert or to sign these sessions. It is up to you to bring your phone up to the front office and have them sign off, and just let them know really briefly what they're signing for. Okay, common questions and concerns. What if I am unable to create or complete a session? Maybe there's some kind of technical error. Please contact the front office as soon as possible, no later than the end of the day, and they will help problem shoot. Another question, maybe I'm still new and I don't remember how to do something. That's okay. Ask for help from a lead RBT, one of your trainers, supervisor, or the front office. It's so much better to ask for help now to ensure you're doing it correctly. This will save everyone a lot of time in the long run, including you. The only dumb question is the one that you don't ask. So please ask for help if you are confused. Another question, oh no, I entered something wrong and I don't know, or I cannot change it. Things happen, and that's okay. But please be sure to contact your front office staff as soon as possible, no later than the end of the day. I promise they'd rather know now so it can save Christy time when she does the weekly report. Christy takes a lot of time out of her other responsibilities to do the weekly report. So the more accurate your sessions are, the less time it takes her. And I promise she knows when people are doing a good job, and she really appreciates it. Last question, how do I know if my Accupoint session is converted? So after you create a session, there will be a dot next to it. Green means it has been created, but it is not completed yet. Orange means that it has been completed and that you're good to go. So if you have any other questions, comments, or concerns, please ask your trainer or the front office staff, and we can help you get more familiar with this. It's a process that you will go through multiple times a day, and I promise over time it will be easier. But until then, ask. Never be afraid to ask for help.